was actually, hold on, I got to decide real fast whether this should be like a werewolf intro or whether it should be like a woo, we're going to a party
I was doing the Ric Flair. Woo!
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 Ow! Everybody, hey, welcome back. It's the Wolfman Jeff Show. Wow, I'm Wolfman Jeff.
I am not Wolfman Amanda.
Wolfmanda. Wolfmanda. There you go. Yeah.
All right,
actually,
I'm in. I'm back in.
There was a friend of mine once upon a time that wanted to do a podcast, and she wanted me to tell her everything I knew about podcasting, and so I basically adopted the Wolfman Jeff persona and then like had her interview me a whole bunch of times because she wanted to do like an interview show. But I'll tell you what, it's not an interview show. That's the Rage Select podcast here on Rage Select.
Woo!
I'm Jeff, motherfuckers.
I'm still Amanda.
Okay. Sorry. It's a podcast so nice you got to introduce yourself twice. So, yes, it is time for another brand spanking new podcast, and we have a lot of there are now just officially. There are just too many things.
Mm-hmm.
There are too many things.
We're gonna have to start getting rid of stuff.
That's right. I mean, like the
Nintendo Switch doesn't exist anymore.
You say no this week. That's certainly not true. You say all these games are going to appreciate in value, Grandma, but I think that you're just nobody can get to the bathroom anymore. Like social services can't get in here. It's just stacks of PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch games everywhere.
It's like the new Beanie Babies.
Exactly. But no, we have a crap load of news because just when I thought it was going to be a fairly regular news week, like there was just a lot of stuff, and also Nintendo decided to have themselves a little conference.
Yeah, a little part.
So in this first part, before we actually get into the news, I was going to talk about the new Tick show.
Okay.
Because I watched the first 2 episodes of it. And then it was so serious that I decided to go watch the Patrick Warburton Tick show instead, and I just kept watching that, and I liked it better. So I may be able to come back to y'all next week with a report about that new Tick show. Mm-hmm. It's a lot less goofy, and I don't know if the Tick works when it's not. Doesn't have like the Tick. The Peter Serafinowicz Tick is still goofy, but like Arthur is like mentally ill.
Yeah.
So I'm like
less funny.
Yeah,
a little hard to laugh at that.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I did watch, and what I would like to talk about,
yes,
I'm very excited, is last week Netflix put out that Death Note movie. And I feel like we are especially equipped to talk about it because I have seen all the anime recently and watched it, and you've never seen the anime.
I think I've seen a clip from the anime after I watched the movie.
And you watched it. So let's start with you. What did you, just coming in clean, think about the Death Note movie?
Oh, man. After watching it, I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. Not great. Not something I'd ever watch again. But I didn't think it was horrible. I saw like a lot of people like, it was shit, it was garbage. I thought it was good because it was fast-paced. And so the things you didn't like, you didn't really have to worry about because it jumped in. Like, I talked to John about it, and he was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe because it's a longer anime, it would have been better in like 3 movies. And I was like, I don't know if I could handle these characters in 3 movies because, holy shit, L was the best character.
Yep.
Who, by the way, he's the guy in Get Out.
Yep.
I didn't know that. I didn't find that out until way later. I was like, oh my God, I thought he was like a teenager.
Well, him and Willem Dafoe, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, Willem Dafoe is just the Green Goblin.
What are you gonna put Willem Dafoe in a movie? He's not gonna be great. Come on, he was great in the Boondock Saints as the flamboyant gay FBI guy.
I mean, yeah.
His voice was good in Spider-Man 2. Was it Spider-Man 2 where he was trying to tell Harry, or was that 3 where he's like,
I think that's 2 because he dies in 1. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
but the 2 like fucking
Light and Mia.
Light and Psychotic Girl. Yeah, not the best characters.
Okay, so I'm going to try as much as I can to say some nice things about it and some nice things and some not nice things about it. But I'm going to want to talk in the very beginning part here as Jeff trying as hard as he can to just like watch this on its own merits. Right. I honestly don't feel, I'm just going to say right now, I don't actually feel that's giving that show more credit because they're obviously like, I know that a lot of people would be upset if I just sat here and rattled off that wasn't as good as the anime, but they're the ones who used the same Ryuk and the same design for him and the same name of the main character, the same name of the detective, the same MO of the detective. Like, they made the comparisons between this movie and the anime. So, like, I saw, it was like Adam Wingard or whatever, acting real high and mighty on Twitter about, like, oh, trolls don't ever make anything. They just sit back and tell you how bad your things are. And it's like, yeah, but... anyway,
that's a whole discussion. That's a whole podcast worth of talk.
Okay, so let me tell you the things that I did like.
Yeah,
I really like the way that Ryuk looked, and which is, I don't feel it's even a spoiler to talk about him because he's in the trailer. And
he's like straight up in it. Yeah,
I think the guy that played L did an excellent job. I think that he was given. I don't think that the script worked in his favor because. The anime, as I've talked to you about, is very much like a mind game between Light and L. This just was everybody versus everybody all the time.
This was like, two teenagers being dumb as shit the entire time.
Yes. But the guy that played L obviously like watched the anime, read some manga, because he was doing like these weird mannerisms.
Body motions, the way he acted, the way he talked, the way he fucking just looked at people.
Yep.
I said, like, if you took Ryuk out of it and you just showed me all the scenes with like the individual characters, and you told me it was based on an anime, I'd be like, I mean, I guess maybe, but when you put L, it's like, oh yeah, of course it is. You can tell
he's a little bit more like he's very emotionless in the manga, in the anime, but like I understand that you can't do that. You can't just have, because that's maybe the problem with, if they just made a 1-to-1 translation, people would be like, man, all these characters are just dry as fuck, because they are all very dry characters.
Are they like all sociopaths?
Not sort of. Like, L is sort of a sociopath, but he also has a strong sense of justice. Light is a sociopath, and he has his own strong sense of justice. It just happens to involve killing people who commit crimes. So, I thought that the cinematography was all very good. It looked really nice.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little weird that they decided to use so much like 80s songs, like that
soundtrack was horrible. Like not the music itself wasn't bad, but like their song choice was really poor, because it'd be like somebody dying and then it'd be like this oddly 80s song, like love song coming on, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
It was weird because it was almost like
they undercut their emotional impact on a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, it would. It also didn't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense. Like, if the movie had been set in the 80s, I think it would make sense. But tonally, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, nobody was into the 80s. Like, the 80s didn't show. It was like, why are you playing this weirdo 80s song?
Yeah.
Now let me talk about, from the non-anime perspective, the things that I didn't like about it. I thought that there was a fatal flaw, even before we talk about the anime, of this movie to me, was too many plots. Like, you've got Light and Mia, you've got Light and Ryuk, you've got Light and his dad, you've got L and Watari, you've got Watari and Light, you've got Mia and L. There were too many gears moving, and I felt like it was also strange to me that in this era where every big blockbuster movie is like 2.5 hours long, that it was only like an hour and 49 minutes or something like that, because I feel like it needed more time to set the ideas of what they were working with. Like, he gets the book, he starts writing names in it, and then it's just like one montage, and everybody's like, oh, everybody in the world thinks Kira is the greatest. And like, were you doing this in like 4 days or something?
Yeah, it felt like I blinked and then that girl was on his dick. Like, it just, you know what I mean? Like, it just happened. It just came out of nowhere to me.
Well, also, that's a really good, interesting thing, is that Mia's character is very strange to me, because, like, there's a part in the movie where she's just like, oh man, I've always wanted to be more than just a cheerleader. Like, when you first see her, she's doing like cheer stuff, and then she's like walking away smoking a cigarette, like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's like, but why are you a cheerleader then? Like, you don't seem
just fucking do something else. You seem to not care what other people think anyway, so it's not like, I have to live the norms of what society wants me to be. It's like, no, I don't give a fuck what these people think, and being a cheerleader sucks. And it's like, why did we let her on the cheer team?
Yeah.
She's horrible.
Yeah.
She isn't even bringing spirit.
Also, Light, it doesn't seem like, you get a sense from they never really prove it to you, but like Light and L are both supposed to be very, very, very intelligent. And so in the anime, it's very much a battle of wills between the two of them. And with Light, it's like, oh, I'm doing other people's homework. And it's like, well, I mean, I
did people's homework and I dropped out of college. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
That's also like an easy, like a trope or like a cliche in movies where they're like, see, he's real smart.
Yeah.
People pay him to do their homework. And it's like, do you know how easy homework is in high school?
I don't know.
Pretty
also,
fucking.
There was a lot of gore. And I wasn't entirely sure why they felt the need to like gore it up, man.
So is there not a lot of? Do they just?
Well, so in the one of the differences between the anime and I feel like the movie is in the movie they write the way the person dies. They like write the person's name and then they die in a certain way, and that always seems to be the most grotesque way that they can get killed, like so and so gets decapitated, and so anyway, I'm not going to go into specifics. In the anime, if you don't write anything, they just die of a heart attack, and that's like 90% of the way that people die in the anime is just having a heart attack.
Yeah.
So it's not this big,
So it even makes less sense when they write things like their heart stops, because it's like you could have just wrote his name,
right?
It would have been fine. You wasted a lot of ink on this.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like it was internally inconsistent. I feel like they could have taken one of the things. It's weird to me because I feel like they should have taken some stuff out. Like it should have been L and Light and Ryuk and the police, or like Light and Mia and their whole thing. Like make it a
that thing is horrible. Like that was the worst part. I don't mean to shit on a girl in a movie with no other girls, but oh my god, she's poorly written, she's poorly acted, and she is just nothing but a distraction. And it's like the entirety of this problem could have been solved if he wasn't fucking that bitch.
Yep. Like, very true.
Holy shit, do I hate that. Like, oh my god, just don't put your dick in Crazy the movie.
All right, so now before we get to the news, I'm going to take...
But I thought it was fun.
I'm going to take about 5 minutes here and say, compared to the anime, okay, now if you're doing that, this is just garbage. This is just Dookie on the street. Like, it's just sitting there smelling the place up.
Yeah.
Like, the anime goes on for a very, very long time. It's totally on Netflix. If you watch that movie and you were like, what?
I mean, both are on Netflix.
Well, that's true. If you watch that movie and you were like, what? Why? What? Just go watch the series. Like, I don't mean to just be that guy, but like, listen, just go watch the original. And don't watch this, because the original... Like,
so, I mean, it doesn't matter. Either way, you should watch it, because if you thought the movie was horrible, the anime does better. Right. If you thought the movie was pretty good or good, the anime expands on that.
Yeah.
So,
if you've never seen it, the anime is still good.
Yeah. So, yeah, so watch the anime.
It's a win-win-win.
I mean, I'm not gonna, but you should.
Well, the anime has the advantage of being long enough that they can let some of these concepts breathe, like without just like
sometimes it works with a slow burn, but the way this was acted, there's no way you could sit there and watch Mia being a psychotic bitch for more than an hour and 45 minutes. She's horrible, Jeff.
Dude, most of them are horrible. The Light is horrible.
I would watch L if it was like a movie about him, because that shit was super interesting and he was a great character. But then like Light making piss poor decisions because some girl touched his pee-pee one time, like fucking why?
If you could do what apparently the death note in this movie is just magical, so you could just be like, then the hottest girl in school sucks my dick for 20 years, whatever I want to, and dies in the year 2045 at 6 a.m. or whatever. And then like if you decide that you want to keep up with the fucking blowjob train, burn that page, because apparently that's a thing now that it just invalidates.
Was that thing. Not in the anime?
You didn't. No, I feel like nobody in the anime.
Are you saying the American version invented the mulligan on the?
Yeah, I'm saying that the anime, nobody ever felt the need to be like, just kidding. Psych. Yeah. they were a bunch of like, even though there's a bunch of teenagers, they were like a bunch of adults killing people. And they were killing people and not just like, tee-hee, let's make out and then write some bad guys' names in this book so they die.
Just the general idea, this is the most frustrating part, is just the like, I'm doing this because I want to make the world better. But hang on, everyone has to know I did it. Everyone needs to know know that I want them to fucking thank me, which was an actual line. I don't know if he says that in the anime, but I want them to. And then he's like, oh man, we have to stop because people know who we are. It's like, why did you fucking give him a name, you dipshit?
Yeah, I don't remember in the anime if Light sets up the name or not, or if it's. I think that in the anime, if I'm remembering correctly,
is it a Ryuk thing?
That it's just like it just pops up on message boards that
like they named it.
The police know that criminals are dying, and then like these message boards basically just start popping up, going like, "We called this person Kira," and so blah 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 blah. But because
that just happens to also mean Light and Killer or whatever.
Whatever. Anyway, I don't know. Let's move on, everybody. Ah, man, it was just so irritating. I was like doing this thing where I was pointing my hand at the screen, just like, why?
Yeah.
Why? And also, I don't think that director is very good, because isn't he the guy that did Fantastic Four? That was just like,
oh, he was a dick. The like current one, the Michael B. Jordan Fantastic Four. Oh yeah, I hear he was horrible.
Let's see if we could just do a quick. I think it's the same guy.
Yeah, it probably is. Because he doesn't know how to direct women because he treats them like shit.
Fantastic Four, the 2015 film, is directed by Josh Trank.
And that is not the person that did.
Fantastic Four, no, that's not.
Cool.
He was a Chronicle guy. Let's just take a look.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Who is this guy? I think it was Adam Wingard. If that was not it, then I apologize. Okay, yeah, Adam Wingard. Adam Wingard is. Let's see. Oh my God. This guy has no business at all talking about trolls and how all they do is criticize people. Okay, you want to know what he did before Death Note?
No, but tell me anyway.
He was the director of that fucking shitty Blair Witch thing that I also watched. That was just Blair Witch 1 over again, pretty much.
Oh yeah, okay, the new one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Before that, The Guest. I don't really know that one. That was. Oh, no, I did watch this. Yes, I watched this movie. This one was actually not that bad, as it's like...
Who is that? Is that Bradley Cooper?
No, he's
generic.
Dan Stevens.
Oh, so white person?
Yeah, it's kind of like a... It's
a small picture. I can't see who it is.
Yeah, this movie's actually not that bad. It's actually kind of a horror movie about like a family where this guy shows up and he's just like, hey, I was with your kid in Iraq and I'm just back from Iraq, and I just wanted to say that, he told me to tell you guys some stuff, and he got killed and whatever. But then it turns into a weird horror movie where it turns out the guy's actually kind of a psycho, and so he starts doing all this weird shit. Mm-hmm. That was okay. But he did the clinical trials in VHS 2, which was the Skype call one.
I haven't watched any of the VHSs.
He did the ABCs of Death. He was in original VHS. He did a section of the original VHS. He did You're Next.
Huh, that was on my list.
Huh. He did a movie called What Fun We're Having, autoerotic.
So he's a horror guy?
A Horrible Way to Die.
He's a horror guy, and he did a piss poor Death Note?
Yeah.
I mean, he did, it was a fine Death Note, but it didn't come off like a horror.
Actually,
should it have been a horror?
No, see, that actually makes an awful lot of sense, because they made a horror movie. Like, that wasn't, and it's supposed to be like
that was supposed to be a horror movie?
Well, it's more. I mean,
it makes sense that the tone didn't make sense. Like, the tone felt weird because a horror guy was trying to do something that isn't horror, that has kind of horror elements because there's like demons and shit.
Yeah. Well, the anime is more, I would say, like suspense was probably where I would put it, or like psychological, like whatever.
Right, but like animes in Japan, like their use of demons isn't necessarily put something in like horror.
No.
Where in America that kind of does.
Yeah.
Like it tosses you in a specific like genre.
No, it's a lot more suspense. Like there's a lot more kind of like spy shit and intrigue and stuff like that in the original Death Note. But that makes a lot of sense, though, why it was like there are a lot of things that are in there that I feel like are horror movie. Like there's a scene when Ryuk first shows up is like a weird horror movie scene, as opposed to in the anime where he shows up and the main character is like wag, and then they just have a conversation. You know, the reason all the deaths are so gory for whatever reason, that some of the
some Final Destination shit horror.
The whole end part that is just like what. Anyway, I keep talking about this. We should do a spoiler cast on it because I'd love to talk about the individual things that were irritating to me.
Yeah, dude,
like,
I'm
minute
down.
by minute.
You should do that as like a Patreon thing every once in a while.
Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. And Amanda and I, we stay up late. We got time.
Right.
All right. Well, let's get on to the actual news. Now that we've blathered about Death Note for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Half-Life 3 Episode 3
Confirmed.
Is now a blog post by Eric. What was that guy's name? Mark Laidlaw. One of the guys who helped write and design Half-Life and Half-Life 2 and the 2 episodes, basically put up a blog post called Epistle 3, and it's basically a note from Gertrude Fremont to
that could be anybody.
talking all about the Research and Rebellion team and what does he call Alex? Alex Vaught. Anyway, I'd actually go back and look up a bunch of the Half-Life 2 names because I don't remember any of them.
What is he talking about?
My favorite one is Mrs. What is it? What does he call the suit guy? Mrs. X. He calls the G-Man is Mrs. X.
Oh.
He gender flips everybody in the thing. But basically, I don't know what the impetus for this was, but Mark Laidlaw apparently just got tired of waiting for Valve or whatever.
Yeah.
Just put out what would have been Half-Life 2 Episode 3.
And
I read it.
And it was the best thing ever?
It was good. I mean, the thing is that as a story, it's good. Whether there's a real difference between reading a story and playing a video game. So, like, I can imagine it. And I never played Half-Life 2. I never finished Half-Life. No, I finished Half-Life 2. I never played Episode 1 or Episode 2 because I would kind of got Half-Lifed out by the end of Half-Life 2. But it's a good story. I mean, it kind of finishes Gordon Freeman and his team looking for this like crazy boat that's going in and out of sync. It's interesting. You can go read it and basically kind of I forget because they call them the others or whatever, but the bad guys in Half-Life 2, the Combine. Kind of wraps their story up a little bit, and leaves it open for a sequel. But it's interesting that this is just happening now.
Yeah.
Like, I would figure either it would have happened closer to the release or of Episode 2 or never.
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange that is going on right now. But it does lead to one of my favorite topics of speculation. Amanda.
Yes.
Money on the line. Will there be a Half-Life 3? Yes or no? Or the future? Too far into the future, we'll have flying cars and implanted penis detectors by that point. So,
do we need those?
I don't know.
How's your life going that you need that?
I don't. The future's a strange place. You never can tell.
I would bet money that it will happen.
Yeah.
More because I like to be an optimist, but honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
But it's more of at this point, there's nothing stopping them. There's nothing forcing them to do it. So it's literally just like a coin toss.
Yeah.
To me, it seems.
See, I guess I would really like a Half-Life 3, but I don't want it to be the sort of thing where it's like, we demand that you I don't care if you want to make a game, make it anyway. Like, just be pissy about it.
If that were the case, it would have already come out.
Right.
Because, I mean, it's a fucking meme at this point.
That's true.
It's a conspiracy theory. Anytime anything with a fucking number shows up, Half-Life 3 gets confirmed.
I think, what was that, like 2 or 3 years ago at like Gamescom, some video game website made one of those giant banners on the outside of the thing that said like Half-Life 3. And it was for their website, and it was like, we wrote a story about Half-Life 3. You can read it at this thing, like in really tiny letters.
That's perfect.
Below this gigantic banner that just said Half-Life 3.
Yeah, people were probably flipping their shit.
Yes, they were. So anyway, I don't know. If you're interested in Half-Life, maybe go read it. Let us know in the comments what you think. All right, next up, we have a big steaming load of Nintendo trailers. Now, before we started, Amanda watched all the trailers that I had, and this was, except for all of these Nintendo ones because there are like 12, and we're not going to go over every single one of these.
Just
in detail.
The best one.
Just the best one, maybe two. And so the best one, as we all know,
is Suda 51.
Suda 51! Travis strikes again. New No More Heroes coming to the Nintendo Switch. This looks like a big, fat bunch of Suda 51 crazy fucking garbage.
Yeah, I'm so down for this.
I'm wondering, though, in this trailer, when this guy comes into the trailer, that there's like a fake guy playing a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what video game it is?
No, but I can't see from here.
It's Half-Life. It's a Hotline Miami. Which is published by Devolver Digital.
Mm-hmm.
That Suda 51 guested on their live E3 show.
Right, where he said he'd never work with Devolver Digital.
Yes. Now, apparently, from some further information that's out there, Travis Strikes Again, there's some further information. Travis Strikes Again is going to take place 7 years after the end of No More Heroes 2 and includes collaborations with several major indie studios, including Denaton, the makers of Hotline Miami.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for this is the game involves Travis and Badman, who I assume is the guy with the bat. I've actually never played any of the No More Heroes games.
Nor I.
Being pierced by a game console called the Death Drive Mark II, which forces them to beat 6 distinct games in order to survive. And that just sounds incredible.
You have to play 6 distinct other games to beat this particular game?
I get the feeling that this is more of like a mini.
Did you wish for this real hard?
I at this point, I have given up trying to hope or pray for whatever Suda 51 is going to do, because Suda 51 is going to do Suda 51. It doesn't matter how much I want him to make Shadows of the Dam 2 or, whatever, something crazy and berserk. Yeah. What did you think about this trailer, Amanda?
I thought it looked great. The art reminded me initially of like Scanner Darkly, like almost rotoscoped.
Yeah.
Definitely the car part, but then as like it was getting in, and I didn't know, like I go into these trailers blind, like you typically don't tell me a lot of what it is. The next thing I thought was, oh, this reminds me of Suda 51, and then Suda 51's name popped up, and I was like, oh, good.
Yeah.
No, it looks fun. It looks crazy. It looks bonkers, and that is about what I expect from something with Suda 51's name on it.
The only thing that pisses me off about this is that the trailer is mixed incredibly poorly in the audio department. Like, there's all this dialogue between the two of them, and I can't hear.
Music is blasting. And
can't hear any of it.
And I hate they use the Stranger Things font.
Oh, yeah.
It just bothers me in general. It feels like people are using that, like, that'll sell. Like, clearly we're going to make 100 more sales because we use that font that people seem to like.
I do feel like this is just going to be a little minigame collection, that it's not going to be like a full-on No More Heroes game. But then, I don't know.
That's kind of okay, too, though.
Yeah. Next up, let's see. I said we're not going to go over all these, but there are a few of these that are actually kind of interesting. Okay, so Shovel Knight King of Cards is the third expansion to Shovel Knight, where you get to play as King Knight and have King Knight's whole backstory. Shovel Knight's been actually a really interesting game because you play Shovel Knight, and then they first put out the Plague Knight expansion, where you kind of just play the same game as Plague Knight, and they put out the one where you play as Death Knight or whatever his name is, and now King Knight. And this is also going to have a little card game in with it where you can play. So when this is out, if you out there in TV land have not ever played Shovel Knight, I highly recommend doing so, because even if you're not playing it on the Switch, I think it'll probably be out on the PC as well. I think that the Death Knight or whatever his name is expansion came out for it, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
Mom Hid My Game is a previously was an Android game, where it's like a little hidden room game where you have to like find stuff and then like make some stuff interact with other stuff in order to find stuff. Apparently, it's got a good reputation. It's coming to the Switch and the 3DS. Golf Story is basically an RPG, like a top-down RPG game that involves a lot of golf, but it's also an RPG. That sounds great.
Okay.
I would totally play that.
I don't like golf or RPGs. Especially when golfing's involved.
I do. I like video golf. Next, we have Floor Kids. Now, Floor Kids is something that's really strange, because Floor Kids is like a breakdancing competition game.
Yeah. Is it like a rhythm game?
I don't really know from this trailer. I know that there are a few different styles.
I kind of like this art, though.
Yeah, the art is very sketchy. It's like kind of half finished. It reminds me of like early test animation.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that the music is being done by Kid Koala, who is actually I'm a big fan of his from back in the old days. Like his first and second album were some of my favorites. So this looks kind of crazy, and I like the look of it. Like it looks funky and interesting, and I'm always a big fan of funky and interesting.
Yeah.
Like I feel like funky and interesting getting like a lot of press these days is one of the reasons why we have so many great games just like out all the time.
Yeah.
I had to ignore like 3 good games this week
I feel like, and I'm not going to try not to turn this into a thing, but I do feel like video games right now is really doing what movies are struggling with, which is that like movies are hardcore dedicated. Like the general cinema right now is hardcore, hardcore dedicated to like big Hollywood blockbuster movies. You know, it's a lot of like remakes or adaptations and big stars and big casts and like creating giant universes and stuff like that, where video games right now seem to really be relishing in the indie stuff and like, or just like, it's just a little weird. Like no one would have thought of doing this game, but we decided to do it, and a bunch of people are going to like it. And you know what I mean? I
think that's one of the best arguments for like why you don't ever want to shut anybody out of the gaming industry is that right now games are so easy to make and more people than ever can make a game. And so I just love the idea that we're just like, because previously it used to be that like if the gaming industry decided, oh, you know, horror games don't sell anymore.
And then no one ever makes another horror game.
And then like everybody stops making horror games. And now it's just like, well, fuck you. We'll make our own goddamn horror games. They're like, oh, nobody wants turn-based strategy RPGs anymore. And it's like, fuck you. There's a whole program devoted to making turn-based RPGs. I mean, I just love
the industry stopped making, the video game industry stopped making point-and-click adventure games. And then Tim Schafer made a whole big deal, and Ron Gilbert did like a whole thing about making more point-and-click adventure games. Now they're fairly common. Yeah. Not super common, but fairly.
This next one is called Wolverblade.
Wolverblade?
And this is like
awesome.
A side-scrolling kind of like barbarian action game that's real kind of weird and cartoony, but also has a lot of blood in it. I personally really like it.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of men with facial hair chopping up a lot of other men with different facial hair.
And like a lady.
And there's also a lady. Yeah, there's this lady with a skirt that's also whooping ass.
Yeah. She looks real pissed.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I think I forgot to start by saying Super Meat Boy. Super Meat Boy Forever is like a new-ish Super Meat Boy game that's coming out.
Okay.
Where it's like Super Meat Boy, but now you have the ability to like punch, so you can actually like in midair punch to move forward in midair, adding a different verb set to Super Meat Boy. I've never really been a big fan of Super Meat Boy because it's just like brutal platforming.
Yeah.
And that's just not really my thing. Polybridge, which I think that Joe and I actually played on either a Patreon video or an Indie Friday at one point. Is coming out. It's basically like a realistic physics bridge simulator where you have to build.
Oh yeah. I know
bridge.
this one. Yeah.
Kentucky Route Zero is coming out on the Nintendo Switch. This game called Earth Atlantis, which is basically it looks like just like a kind of a weird submarine game with kind of a strange beige art style.
Yeah.
Where everything there's a shot in the game where you can see the Statue of Liberty. It looks like everything is underwater on this Earth. It looks like a kind of a little.
It's Waterworld.
It's Waterworld. Next up, Hero is from the Scribblenauts people, and
I love Scribblenauts.
This is a game apparently where when you die, you go back and then you recruit your dead body to fight with you. You build an army that way.
Yeah.
SteamWorld Dig 2, I believe, gets a full-on release date. It's coming September 21st.
Yay, that's not too far away.
I really like SteamWorld Dig. I thought the first one was real fun. Mulaka is a thing that apparently I think it's coming out on a few other places, but this says let me read the description from what I'm seeing here. This is
I'm starting to feel like you're going through every single one of these, Jeff.
I am, but just briefly. Oh, yeah. It's based on Tarahumaran culture and set in northwest Mexico. It seems like kind of an action-adventure game where your character actually ends up turning into like different animals and getting different like animal powers.
Ooh, I kind of like the art on it.
I do a little bit, but it also is real like the art is primitive and that doesn't bother me all that much, but the environment is very sparse.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be a lot there. And I don't know if that's just because of the build, but who knows? Could end up being good. This one is one that I feel like you might like. This is called what is this called? Yono and Celestial Elephants, and it's basically like a game where you play as
oh my god, that elephant is adorable.
A little elephant, kind of Zelda style, rolling around. And,
shit, that's adorable.
Getting stuff, doing stuff, solving puzzles. I'm an elephant.
Now I'm all about elephants doing shit.
Yeah.
Do these people all have skull faces?
Some of them do.
Oh.
Some of them don't. But yeah.
Oh my god, that's fucking adorable.
It's pretty adorable. You like shoot little peanuts out of your snout. You can breathe fire. It seems pretty cool.
He even has little different skins and stuff. Oh my god. So cute. That's adorb.
Dragon Marked for Death is basically a side-scrolling action game that seems pretty cool. This one is also there were a lot of fucking Nintendo, man. So this one seems really strange. It's called Battle Chef Brigade, and it's got like
we played a battle cooking game, remember? And the girls' tops fell off.
That was a Senran Kagura game first and a cooking game second. But basically, it seems like there's two protagonists here called Mina and Thrash, and so it appears that this is got a side-scrolling hunting element where you kill stuff and get the ingredients, and then there's kind of a weird match 3 game where you cook the ingredients and then you put it before judges. There's a part where they take the thing and you're like an iron chef.
I'm kind of down for that.
Yeah, it looks kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like crazy and bizarro.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. This looks kind of weird.
I mean,
and funky.
unless their tops fall off, though. I'm not 100%, but I'm in.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't judge if their tops are going to fall off just based on the trailer.
That's true. I know that I'm kind of going through all these, but another interesting one was this thing called Morphe's Law, where it's basically this is a 4-on-4 shooter, and they've got these.
Man, I love the style of those.
Yeah, these robots with kind of like Dia de los Muertos paint on them. But okay, this is what's crazy is that the way that this game works is it's a 4-on-4 multiplayer game, but when you shoot the other person, the part of their body that you shoot gets smaller, and that part on your body gets bigger. So
shoot him in the dick.
Shoot him in the dick. So if you shoot somebody in the head a bunch of times, and their head gets way bigger, and your head
that
gets
looks
way
so
smaller.
Funny.
It's real weird looking. And then apparently, the crazy thing about this is that then having different attributes makes your character act differently. So if you have big legs, you can jump higher, and if you have small legs, you can
Then he's got little T-Rex arms.
Yep. Then there's also these 2 giant team avatars in the background that when you kill people, you're trying to make your avatar bigger than the other one. There's going to be areas that you can't go into unless you're small, or if you're too big, blah blah. It's a real strange concept.
I'm really digging the total weirdness of it.
Yeah, it's real fucking weird, and you guys should all go watch this trailer because it's called Morphe's Law.
Yeah, that's a great name too.
Yep.
I'm in.
Yep.
Nintendo.
Yep.
With all this goodness.
Sausage Sports Club is a weird game where it looks like.
I was a part of that. Oh no, this isn't what I thought it was.
No.
No, this is a different Sausage Sports Club.
This is some kind of party game where it looks like you're playing as a bunch of top heavy dogs, like corgis, standing on their hind legs. I don't know.
There's definitely some wieners or something in there, though.
Yeah. Light Fingers is actually kind of an interesting. This one is being made to be played by up to 4 people, and it talks about how you've got skulking thieves in the night playing this game. But what's really interesting is that it's a procedurally generated game, but then the way that the game actually plays is it's you're playing this weird virtual board game where new parts of the map are opening up. And then there's little encounters where it looks like.
Are you a little silhouette guy?
And this is just the little tiny people, right? But then it looks like they also have areas where other people use their hands to help you or whatever. But it's got a real nifty aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the intro of Game of Thrones, except that it keeps opening up these little little pieces. So also cool. I mean, I was watching this stuff and I'm just all this stuff looks cool.
Yeah. It's innovative. It's not it's just another generic blah, blah, blah.
9 Parchments isn't a generic blah, blah, blah. This is a 4-player dungeon crawler kind of Gauntlet. It just looks kind of whatever. And that was, I mean, I'm using, like, I didn't have a chance to watch this because I've been working nonstop every single day of my life.
Can't stop, won't stop.
But that's a good chunk of things.
Good job, Nintendo.
Yep. Okay, so let's end it on a down note, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So the Miiverse, you remember the Miiverse on the 3DS and the Wii U?
I do indeed.
Closing down in November.
Bye. Oh man, the best part about the Miiverse was the music.
Mm-hmm.
Like setting up everything. Like they had this great background music for those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Because I didn't use the Miiverse for anything, but I really enjoyed the music.
I never used it. I just liked where you could see the drawings that came up from people, or you could see the little Miis also.
That just turned into penis drawings.
Gathered around games, like just circled around whatever the new game was, and there'd just be a bunch of little Miis around there.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why. I mean, they're not really promoting the Miis as much on the Switch as they were before.
Yeah.
Like, I think I might have made one, but I'd never really used it, so yeah.
Meh.
All right. So from Nintendo, let us turn our eyes to their primary competitor, Sega. So everybody is crazy for Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania, they say Sonic Mania is the greatest Sonic game that's ever Sonic to Sonic. It's Sonic, it's Chili Dogs, it's Sonic and Tails. And
gotta go fast.
Jeff, why are you such a curmudgeon who doesn't like Sonic games? And I go, I don't know, man. I wish I could. I just don't really like them as much. But anyway, Sonic came out on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, but last week it came out on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
There was a delay between the two of them. And when it launched on the PC, it launched with a word that you may not know, but is instantly going to put a bunch of people's teeth on edge, like fingernails on a chalkboard. De Novo.
Okay.
De Novo is a DRM package that is made to cut down on piracy. And what that means is that if you don't have your computer online, you can't play single-player Sonic fucking Mania because it can't authenticate. So it's almost certainly already been cracked by, I mean, they ripped that stuff out so fast, right?
Yeah.
So people that are stealing a copy of Sonic Mania, stealing a copy of Sonic Mania.
Yeah, you're just making it more inconvenient for people who legitimately purchased.
People who legitimately purchased it. And, you know, me, myself, being in an area that is currently being affected by a lot of kind of natural disaster stuff and outages and things, like the internet goes down and the game's just like, oops, sorry, you're not on the internet anymore. We can't verify every second of your life that you legitimately purchased this copy of Sonic Mania.
I mean, in fairness, you do need to have every second of your life verified, Jeff. You know that.
Just for different reasons. For entirely different reasons.
Legal reasons. Court-appointed reasons.
You make one joke about Vans. But no, this is awful. And, you know, I actually didn't have this set up as Sega didn't list this as a thing that was going to be in their game, and did this whole pre-order thing where if you pre-ordered it, you could get a copy of Sonic 1. So that meant that, like, by the time this came out, when people found out that this was in there, they technically weren't able to return it to Steam because it had been outside of the purchase date.
Is Steam going to make an exception? Do they care?
I don't think Steam's going to make an exception. I don't think they don't rarely do that. I think the last time they did it was like No Man's Sky, although I don't keep up with that. They could have done it a bunch of times, and I don't even know. But I think that Sega has realized that they're kind of made a mistake and that they might be pulling this out. Who knows?
Yeah.
As a counterpoint, last week on the Super Awesome Video Game Show, or the week before on the Super Awesome Video Game Show, John and I played a game called Darkwood. It was a top-down horror game, and I didn't even bring this up on the news. I just was rolling around. So the guys that made Darkwood was a 3-person team that decided they want to make a certain type of game, and then it kind of spiraled out and became this big horror thing, and they did it. They made it. They put it out. Well, apparently they got so inundated with bogus or like key selling companies trying to get keys off of them to sell at a discounted rate to other people that they just put their game on Pirate Bay with no DRM, and they said, you know what? This was a labor of love. We didn't make this for money. We're more than happy. If you would like to try it here, please just, if you like it, buy it from us, and don't buy a key from a third-party website. Just buy it from us, and here, have the game for free, and if you want to, great.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like, it's kind of the direct opposite of what this situation is, but it's wonderful. And it's a great way to build trust between you and your audience, as opposed to just being like, ooh, I've got my eye on you. Give me $20, but that's not enough. I have to be invasively on your computer, making sure you're online at all times, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, boo, Sega, boo.
Boo, Sega.
Boo. Ooh.
Be like Nintendo.
Ooh.
Did you turn into a ghost?
Ooh, I'm a ghost.
Ooh.
I'm the ghost of the city from Destiny because it got blown up. Woo!
Ooh.
And that led us to the Destiny 2 live action trailer. Now, this is a good trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It's got
I laughed during the jokes.
Nathan Fillion bot talking about everything's blowing up, and then like a bunch.
And then the puppies, not the puppies.
Not the puppies. We got a bunch of people. This is live action. We got a bunch of people in weirdo Destiny space armor, locking and loading and running around and doing stuff while Sabotage by the Beastie Boys plays in the background.
Yeah. Please stop using Sabotage. Please stop using Sabotage. Who is that actor?
Who?
Not the puppies guy.
This guy?
No, he's not the one that says not the puppy. White boy.
This guy. Oh, this guy. Oh, not the. Well, you said not the puppies guy.
That's what he says, not the puppies.
Yes, but I can also have interpreted that as not
completely.
the puppies guy.
I gotcha.
I don't know. He looks like Tom Cruise's cousin or something.
Yeah, he does.
Like
I just looks familiar.
But here's my question. This is a fine trailer. Okay, great. Several $1 million appear to have been spent on costumes and wardrobe and environments and explosions and digital effects and a person with a Nathan Fillion bot head.
Yeah.
Is it really like there are tons of other digital trailers already out for Destiny 2 that are just like Destiny 2 so badass. Look at all these graphics. Like, I don't understand how this is gonna like seal the deal for somebody who's like, I don't know about that Destiny 2, and then it's like, oh, you mean it's like I'm in the video game jumping around and doing stuff? Pre-order it now. I don't know.
I don't know how it sells it, but it's not a bad commercial, so it's hard to be mad at it.
Yeah, it's just Dishonored 2 had a similar thing where they made this like really, really, really expensive looking live action version of Dishonored 2, and I was just like, I don't understand why. Like, I could kind of understand it when it was Call of Duty and they were using like all the YouTubers in the commercial for it. But
is that because you wanted to be one of those YouTubers?
No, dude, I don't play Call of Duty. Actually, we did play Call of Duty World War II this week, and by the end, I was actually having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to get into Call of Duty.
But I don't know. This looks good, though. I mean, you know,
maybe it's a pitch to make a Netflix series.
Oh, out of Destiny.
Yeah,
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, if it looked like that, it'd be worth watching.
Yeah. Well. Segue. I tell you what they could also make a series out of, and that's my childhood, where I spent a lot of time.
Nobody wants to see that tragic story.
Playing The Secret of Mana that's being remixed. I did it. I got there.
Hey, here we are.
Yep. So, Secret of Mana is a Super Nintendo game that came out.
More like Secret Amanda.
Yeah, a long time ago. And apparently Square is just like full on remaking it in 3D. And that's cool. I played this game. I think this looks great. It was one of my favorites as a kid. It was one of those ones that I could like rent at the video store and then beat over the course of a weekend. And so I would do that.
His bird dinosaur has the same hair as him.
The bird dinosaur. Yeah. Also, I mean, there's like this lady.
Yeah, she has crazy hair. And then psycho looking girl.
I think that's a dude.
That doesn't make him less psycho.
Yeah. This is one
they
of those...
got the crazy eyes. Crazy eyes knows no gender.
This is one of those ones where I'm like, maybe you should have just left it as pixels, bro. Maybe like pixels were fine.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of dig bird dinosaur with the crazy anime hair is like my favorite.
Yeah. I don't know.
After Valentine's Day.
February 15th next year. Looking forward to it.
That sounded sarcastic.
Now, if you need something to give your Valentine next year.
Jesus Christ with the segue.
There's, what, do you just want me to be silent and then just like start saying the next story?
Way to beat.
Okay.
Also, Sony.
Yeah, if you need a thing for your Valentine next year, maybe consider the PlayStation VR headset, which has been reduced in price.
Yay!
So last week the HTC Vive, or the week before. So this summer the Oculus was $100 cheaper. So it was cheap. I think it was like $300 for the headset, or $400 or something like that.
Okay.
Or $400, I believe, which put it cheaper than the Sony bundle. The Vive just dropped from like $900 to like $600, I believe.
These are all still stupid high prices for a poor person like I.
Sure. And this is not the most dramatic price drop in the world because
they're like 27 cents.
It's going from $4.99 to $4.49 for the bundle.
Like $50.
The $50. But what they have done, which I think is really what they're also doing, which is really cool, and this is actually a thing that I feel like is better. So the $4.49 bundle is the one that I bought. It's the headset, the camera, 2 Move controllers, the PlayStation VR Worlds disc, and then the demo disc for a bunch of other VR apps. If, like me, you actually have Move controllers laying around, it used to be that they also had a version they would sell you for just straight up $400 that was just the headset, but it didn't have the camera. Now it has the camera. So if you can buy just the headset and the camera.
And then use your own Move controller.
Use your own Move controllers. Or if you would like to just play games that don't have Move controllers, there are plenty of games that just use the DualShock.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing. And, after you get that, considering it's going to be so far in the future of Valentine's Day next year, you can play The Inpatient on it. Because that's a PlayStation VR game. It's one of the new games from Supermassive Games, the guys who made Until Dawn, dudes and ladies, what made Until Dawn. It's kind of hard to tell from this trailer if it's going to be any good or not. It just looks like a creepy creeper set.
It's just a lot of like flashes of stuff and not actual like gameplay.
Yeah.
So this game may be just flashes of old people's faces and walking down hallways.
And a deer or a deer shadow. I don't know. It would be nice if there was something
gameplay about it.
Well, I don't know. I feel like we're still waiting for I could probably only wholeheartedly recommend like a half dozen of the PSVR titles. I bought a lot of them, but a lot of them kind of suck. But I'm hoping that if this has the same level of quality as Until Dawn, it'd be worth playing.
Yeah.
And it's coming out November 21st, which, if I'm not mistaken, is actually the week after Skyrim VR comes out.
Tough call.
Which is no bueno. Also, Supermassive's other game,
is that coming out on Black Friday?
Killzone Battle fucking whatever, is also coming out in this year. No, November 21st is a Tuesday. So, normal day. And then once you're done being scared, you can head off into space and play Voltron VR Chronicles.
Finally.
Yes. A game where you get to play as the Blue Lion and have a little Voltron adventure. They use a lot of weasel words in the description for this that make it sound like it's not going to be like you flying a lion around blasting stuff, I don't think.
Yeah.
So it says, in DreamWorks Voltron VR Chronicles, become a paladin of Voltron. Experience a unique story created exclusively for VR. But I don't think it's just going to be like straight up flying robots around. Also, I think you're just going to be the Blue Lion the entire time, which kind of sucks because I didn't.
Wow. What do you got against Blue Lions?
Nothing. I just didn't want to be just the Blue Lion. Apparently, there's a lot of like puzzle solving stuff in here too. I don't know. I never ended up watching season 2 of Voltron, but I did like season 1. I just never got around to it.
Never watched it. John watched it without me.
Oh.
Said something about No Girls Allowed.
Yeah. Yeah, so that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Did he put up the pillow fort?
He made a little fort around the entire projector.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, may not be allowed to watch Voltron, but I'll tell you what you will be allowed to play, and that's Donut Country.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the people at home what Donut Country is all about?
Donut Country it kind of reminds me of, what is that? Katamari Damacy, only instead of like a little ball that accumulates to make a larger ball.
Yep.
It is a hole that you suck things in and it gets bigger the more things it sucks up. And you can like spit out stuff and mix stuff in the hole, and it's got a raccoon that's telling you all this. And yeah, it looks super fun. Like, it just looks stupid and goofy and like some dumb shit that I would want to play.
Yep.
And I will probably play. I'm like, good guess that you would have me play this game.
Amanda, you make donuts for a living. It's called Donut Country. I'm going to need your donut expertise.
Yeah, of course.
To know how the hole in the ground and the Donut Country works.
Right, yeah. This is my life. So if anybody wants to know what I do for a living.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go watch the trailer for this. It's real charming and fun.
Yeah,
and there's a talking
weird.
raccoon.
I was worried that they're going to take my donut simulator idea.
Oh, yeah.
I still got to pitch it. If you guys make video games and you want to hear my pitch, I'm willing to partner up with somebody.
What? Raccoons on Scooters, Donut Country Forever, The Mix.
What?
At GDC 2015. Okay, I don't know. Apparently this has been around for a while. Anyway, well, you are afraid that somebody's going to tell your idea. I'll tell you another thing that you should be afraid of, and that's having your dog get hit by a car, which is what happens in Yomawari. And there's a sequel to Yomawari.
You did that to
It was
the
a
dog.
tutorial. There was no way for me not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yomawari Midnight Shadows is coming out October 24th.
You guys have to watch us play it.
Yep. It looks like they've taken the little girl from the first one, and now she's got a little friend.
Is it her sister again? Didn't she have a sister?
I don't think it's her sister because her sister was older, and this girl looks about the same age.
Okay.
So this looks like a lot more of the same, which is fine because Yomawari was...
Hey, Jeff, is there a dog in this game?
There is a dog!
Cool. So is it going to die?
I don't know!
Probably.
The trailer, shows the dog all over the place. At the end, the trailer shows the dog, walking off into the distance. I don't know if it's the spirit of the dog.
Walking off into the distance to get hit by a car.
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Not just a car. I'm sorry. Like a fucking big rig.
I didn't... It was not my fault. I refuse.
Scars for life.
I refuse to take responsibility for this. Let us speed this up a little bit because we are pretty much out of time already. That's all of the... Well, we've got a few more trailers, but mostly we're just into news now. Strange things are afoot. The Yakuza team is making a Fist of the North Star game, which is a real weird sentence because... Why would the Yakuza team be making a Fist of the North Star
Maybe
game?
they love Fist of the North Star.
Maybe. I feel like
we saw one clip from the anime, and I love Fist of the North Star now.
Yeah. It's real weird looking. It looks cool. I mean, to be honest, the Yakuza games all have a very great hand-to-hand combat system, so it feels like that would be fine for this.
Yeah.
Yakuza knows how to do super over-the-top storylines that are all anime as fuck.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. And at the end, I was afraid that it wasn't going to be bloody enough. And then at the end, he did one of those things where he hit the guy with 1,000,000, and then his head exploded or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a big old giant guy. This looks pretty cool. It looks bonkers bananas, and I'll play it.
Yeah.
I will certainly play it. And Amanda will watch the TV show.
I probably will. I'll ask John, and he'll get all excited.
There's just one part where he's shaking up this martini, and it's the guy where he hits a motorcycle guy with a giant girder.
Yeah,
it looks pretty cool, y'all. And I don't know. That's all I got to say. I can't wait to play it when it comes out. So. Speaking of Yakuza, the Taiwanese PlayStation Network accidentally leaked the existence of Yakuza Kiwami 2. So probably tomorrow and Tuesday, we're going to be playing Yakuza Kiwami, which is a modern remake of the original Yakuza game that came out on the PlayStation 1, I think. I'm not, maybe 1 or 2. And it looks like they're doing the same treatment to Yakuza 2 to make Yakuza Kiwami 2. This was not public information, but apparently it got listed. Somebody hit the wrong switch.
Whoops.
And
hit that launch button a little too early.
Yep. That's cool. I honestly think that... okay, so I don't want everything in the world to be like a remake or an HD upres or whatever, but I do have to appreciate taking a game... I like Yakuza Kiwami's existence because it's taking a game that I never played, that if I went back to play now would be kind of offensive to me aesthetically, and then making it into a more modern game and making it look good. I got no problem with that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. All right, here we go again with Overwatch. So it took us, what was it, 8 months to get Doomfist into Overwatch? Well, with the release, I don't even know if it's on the public test PTR or whatever yet, but new Junkertown map out. And apparently in that Junkertown map, there are some pictures of the Queen of Junkertown, who it does a little voiceover for that map talking about how much she fucking hates the Omnics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Could this be the next character to be in
We're going to say yes.
Overwatch? I'll say Half-Life 3 confirmed.
So far the fans been off about guessing characters?
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody knew Anna from Hole in the Ground before she came out.
Okay.
And Orisa was also kind of a surprise.
So,
because,
I mean, not getting surprised, but like when they've been like, oh, this is going to be a character, like, because we predicted Doomfist, right?
Yeah, but Doomfist was also the fourth one after Ana, Orisa, and Sombra. So, and none of those, like, the community didn't predict, I feel like, any of those.
But could you have, I think Ana was predicted, wasn't she? Because they were like, oh, we were going to bring What's-Her-Face's mom in.
Oh, I don't know. I might not have been paying close enough attention. I do know that when Orisa was coming out, that the little girl who made Orisa had like a parts list that included like Doomfist parts, and so people were like, "That's it, Doomfist." And then Terry Crews went to Blizzard. People were like, "That's it, Doomfist." And then it was just like, "Nope, nope, nope, nope.
Yeah.
Here's Doomfist." Also, since we're talking about Overwatch for 5 minutes, you were here
only
last
5
week.
minutes. Yes.
Did you watch the short? The May short?
Yeah, you made me watch it.
Okay.
I was here.
Sorry. The days all blend together. Do you want to give the people your opinion on it? Did you already?
I don't think I did, but it made me sad in parts, and it made me happy in other parts because I really like it, and I didn't notice it, but John says that if you look at the names on the cryogenically frozen, one of the names is McCready. And that is Kurt Russell's character in The Thing.
Yep.
And I think it's very important for people to know that. John was certain that there were other character names that were also The Thing, but I wasn't.
Torres?
Torres isn't a thing.
Torres isn't a thing? Well,
No.
I know that one of them is actually a professor that created a thermodynamic equation, which is...
Like in real life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know. Like, from this brief thing, I think that...
I don't think Torres is. That's going to bother me.
If the Junkertown Queen looks like she would be like a melee character... I think it'd be nice if Junkrat and Roadhog had, like a third buddy from the Outback. So
especially like a mohawk braided crazy bitch.
Yeah, and a bunch of junk armor. Yeah. With a boob window.
I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up, but yeah, that is definitely a Power Girl outfit.
Yep. Anyway, let's keep our fingers crossed. Maybe we'll hear something soon.
Here's hoping. I mean, they went through the trouble. She has a voice and she has a design.
That's true.
With a fucking weapon in her hand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's not crazy to think they might bring her up with a new map, or not like at the same time. But I mean, like, she has a map.
Yeah.
Where they have art that has designed character that has a voice.
No,
it's you're already there.
Yeah, you're halfway there. Well, speaking of Overwatch, let's talk about everybody's favorite not Overwatch, and that's LawBreakers.
Right, yeah, the one we played.
Yeah, new game. Now, LawBreakers. This is not a great story.
What happened?
Apparently on the PC, less than a month after release, the player count topped out at about 431 total, so less than 500 people playing Overwatch. LawBreakers.
Yeah, right.
LawBreakers.
It only takes 4 minutes to get fucking synced up with somebody on a game for Overwatch because so many people are playing.
It takes me more than 90 seconds. I'm just like, come on, motherfuckers!
Undo, redo. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah. That's a real shame. I mean, I feel like LawBreakers probably... Like when we played it, I don't know what niche it was trying to fill, right? Like if you were...
I think we called it when we played it, and it seemed like it was Overwatch is for babies.
Yeah.
But I still want to play Overwatch.
I feel like those people, though, would probably just stick to like Call of Duty or Battlefield.
I think that's why they don't have anybody playing.
Yeah.
Because, if you're going to be like, well, Overwatch is for noobs that don't really know how to play these kinds of games.
Counter-Strike Go, right?
Then they're going to play something harder. They're not going to play something that's kind of Overwatch, just made more difficult.
Or if you wanted something super twitchy, I mean, that Quake is getting ready to come out.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Sorry. I actually thought that it was kind of an interesting idea, but I just don't feel like it executed all that well.
Yeah. Also, we played it for a while, and I didn't feel like we
had like a shitload of fun.
We didn't have a lot of maps. It felt real repetitive, real quick, and then the gameplay was real long. And
yeah, I mean, the problem, and I know that this is a lot of people out there probably just hate that this exists for everything. The problem is that Blizzard's so fucking good at just like getting you in, teaching you what you need to know, and then just go, keep going.
When do you think they're going to start teaching people to stay on the fucking payload?
I think that they just instituted this week deathmatch and team deathmatch.
Did they?
So those people can just go fucking play team deathmatch.
That's so funny. They said they were never going to do that.
Nope.
Now they're like, fucking whatever.
Oh, no, there's more to it. They also updated Roadhog and Junkrat. If
they nerf Junkrat, then I'm going to stop fucking playing that
he
game.
can throw 2 claymores now instead of just 1.
Nice. Okay.
Roadhog can now drink on the go while moving, but it's a lower heal than it was before. And then apparently Widowmaker has had the cooldown on her little zip line decreased.
Nice.
So they're also, did you hear about the changes they're making to Mercy, where like her res is not going to be her ultimate anymore? Like that's going to be a thing that she can do with a very long cooldown time, but it's just like a regular ability to res one person instead of team resing. And then her ultimate's going to become this new thing where she becomes an offensive character that could literally just fly around the map like at will.
Yeah.
And then with a much more powerful weapon to shoot down at people for a small amount of time.
Cool. Well, she was kind of the least killy, for me anyway, the least killy healer.
Well, apparently they had an issue where in competitive mode where people would be Mercy, get their ultimate, then hide and wait for the team to wipe and then come out and res them all.
Yeah.
Which works in some ways for a team strategy of luring the entire other team, making them fight their way almost up to the point, wiping your team out, and then just being like, heroes never die, and you guys are already fucked up, so now there's 50 seconds left on the clock, and we're going to fucking team wipe you and then win the match. But anyway, enough of that. One last story before we take a break here. One of my personal favorite games of all time is coming back. Puzzle Fighter.
I love Puzzle Fighter.
Do you? I love Puzzle Fighter.
I did back in the day. Like, I remember I had a insomnia when I was younger, and this was one of the few games I would play all the time and be up all night with the sound down real low, but just high enough so I could still hear all the noise.
Yeah.
And I would play Puzzle Fighter all night.
Apparently, they're putting it out on the iOS and Android.
Yeah, that's weird.
iOS and Android, which is weird because, I don't know how the controls for that are going to work, but like Puzzle Fighter, it's necessary to have like razor sharp inputs, like because a lot of that game comes down to like speed. So I don't know how that would work on the. Just like do. I mean,
there's a lot of games that do that are like puzzly like that. So I imagine they're just going to kind of make it one of those now.
Maybe, but it said you can like play against other people online. They're also expanding the roster as like Jill Valentine and Mega Man are in the trailer.
Yeah.
In the there's another trailer that showed a lot more of the kind of like chibi, super deformed style of those characters. Like E Honda's there, and then of course you're going to earn like card packs that you could spend in game currency to unlock new characters.
Or you could just spend $400 and buy everything individually.
All right, let's take a break.
Okay.
We're going to be back in just a minute, and we are going to answer your questions, so stay tuned.
Yay.
And we are back. We are back. We are large and in charge. It is time.
How dare you?
For questions. MailRageLike.com is the email address to send in your questions. But before we get to that, no, you know what? I was going to talk about Absolver, but I feel like the dojo that John and I did is just is a good primer for the game. Mm-hmm. I thoroughly enjoy it. If you were on the fence, maybe go watch the dojo that John and I did. So let's just move on to some questions.
Let's talk about it's my birthday.
Okay.
That's it. That's all. I just wanted to say that.
Is today your birthday?
We are officially recording on my birthday as it is 2:39 in the morning.
Happy birthday!
I just wanted you guys all to have to say happy birthday in the comments.
If I'd have known it was your birthday, I would have stood in line for an hour to get a gallon of gas for you.
That would have been great.
Our first question this week comes in from Will, and this one is a long-ass question.
Okay.
So buckle up, everybody. But because, I think we had a hypothetical a little while back, and I was like, I love hypotheticals. Give us some more hypotheticals.
Oh, good. Let's do it.
Yeah. Will says, hello, Jeff and Amanda. I listened to your last podcast with John where you discussed a time travel scenario and invited listeners to submit their own scenarios. I don't have a time travel scenario, but I do have a gaming scenario that I think might be interesting for you to discuss. This question is geared towards you, but I'd be interested in hearing Amanda's opinion as well. Let's suppose you get a call from none other than Hideo Kojima and Hidetaka Miyazaki themselves. They're calling you because they are announcing a game that will be a collaboration between the two of them called Metal Gear Souls.
Jesus.
Jesus. Even I'm like, oh, fucking goddamn it. They've decided that your deep knowledge and understanding of both series would be extremely valuable in promoting this title, and as such, they would like to make you an offer. Here are their terms. The game will be released on the PC, Xbox One, and PS4. You will receive a free copy on any one of these 3 platforms of your choice. Once you receive your copy, you will play this title for 2 months, releasing 5 videos on the game per week. That would be the end of Rage Select right there.
Crash and burn the website.
At the end of 2 months, you will be compensated at 0.5% of the game's total sales. And during this 2 month period, so if the game makes $1 million during these 2 months, you would make $5,000. If it makes $2 million, you'd make $10,000, and so on. But don't take your pants off yet, because there's a catch. Due to licensing restrictions, Metal Gear Souls will be the only game you can play on whichever platform you choose during this 2 month period. So if you choose to play it on the PS4, you can only play Metal Gear Souls on the PS4, and you cannot play any other PS4 titles.
Fuck that.
If you even launch another game on the PS4, the deal is off. You will not receive a single dollar. However, you can still play whatever titles you like on the Xbox One and the PC. Titles released on multiple platforms would still be playable as long as you do not play them on the PS4. These rules would apply to any of the 3 platforms you choose. This restriction would only apply for 2 month period following the release. At the end of 2 months, they will send you your check and you can go back to playing whatever titles you would like on all platforms. Would you take this offer? If not, what would they have to change to get you to accept the deal? Will.
Well, you should do it on the Xbox.
Yeah, well, that was my first thing.
Because there's no exclusives on the Xbox. You can play literally every single thing on everything else.
Yes.
I love the Xbox, but I mean, I'm not a liar.
Right. That's the quote I want on the side of the box. I love the Xbox One, but I'm not a fucking liar. There aren't any games for this now.
Yeah.
So the real question is whether is like. Okay, I have some questions of my own.
There's a lot in this scenario.
I what's fucked up is that I would need to see the game, but that's a tempting deal because both of those fan bases are fucking rabid, and a lot of them would buy a shitload of that game.
Yeah.
It would, in some cases, almost be like I would have to explain to the audience.
But you'd be putting in, you'd be doing something that fucks with the audience for, what did you say, 2 months?
2 months, yes.
2 months. It would fuck with your audience.
Yeah.
And if it sells $1 million, you get $5,000.
Well, no. So here's the thing: this does say releasing 5 videos on the game per week. Now let's go back. Actually, now that I'm starting to think about it, I think I got this one. I think I got it.
All right.
Okay, here we go. So you will receive a free copy on any of these platforms. Once you receive your copy, you will play this title for 2 months, releasing 5 videos on the game per week. At the end of the month, you'll be compensated, blah, 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 blah. But, let's see. Due to licensing restrictions, Metal Gear Souls will be the only game you can play on whichever platform you choose during this 2 month period. So if you play it. So here's the thing. So he says you got to release 5 videos a week. Can't play... you can't play anything else on the console that you choose, but it doesn't say that every video has to be Metal Gear Souls. It says you have to release 5 videos a week of Metal Gear Souls, but it doesn't say that you can't also release 9 other fucking regular things.
Yeah. So you could continue the normal Rage Select schedule and then just have additional 5 days a week. But that doesn't mean people would not be, because we know the comment sections would not be mildly annoyed or pissed by the end of 2 months of 5 videos a week every week for 2 months.
No, I could do it. I'd totally do it. I would totally do that. I'd totally do it. The amount of money.
That'd have to be a long ass game if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, there's also this is
he's going crazy.
Fucking loophole central here. It also doesn't specify the length of the videos.
So like you can literally be like
10-minute videos.
Hey everyone, we're back for another 5 seconds of this game. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Give me my check, motherfucker. It also doesn't say that I have to have any co-hosts, so it could just be me by myself. It could be fucking Jeff versus Beer.
Yeah.
We'll sit down on Monday of every week, crank out fucking 5 15-minute videos.
For real, yeah. You can literally just get drunk, play for a couple hours, and like.
So yes, Will, you have to consider all of the ins and outs. Yeah, but you do make a good point of like if I was playing it in normal 30-minute increments, that's 150. That's 2.5 hours of gameplay a week for 8 weeks. So that's 16. Yeah, it would be 18 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
It is for both of those two titles.
That's not as long as I thought it would be.
Maybe
honesty, it's because you and I do 45-minute to an hour-long videos.
Yeah, but to be perfectly honest, it would probably be very lucrative for the website because it would be
if it's an exclusive.
Person,
yeah, then yeah.
Well, not even as exclusive, but it would be a single person playing a game probably from start to finish. I mean, if I got 18 hours into a 25-hour game, I would probably just finish it. You know, I probably would just be like, and that's it. Hope you enjoyed the first 2/3 of Metal Gear Souls. Bye, 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 bye.
Yeah. Da, da, da. Sorry about the blue balls, everybody. And then you just like leave them.
Yeah. In fact, I would probably sit down and just try to marathon record like a month worth at a time. And then that would be, no, Will, this is a great deal. Yeah. Can I also meet both of them and have them sign?
I like that. This just kind of really plays into you, like good, like yeah. I think he honestly thought he was going to throw you for a loop with the platform.
Well, he didn't specify. Like the thing is that if the actual terms of this are that like you can only release you have to release. You can't release other videes outside of the 5 days of Souls
There goes
videos.
Your audience.
Then, yeah, that's a big hit for, like, the audience. Although, I don't, in that case, I would probably ask, like, could you set me the amount of time that I have to do, and I could just release 30 hours in 4 days or whatever?
What if you are in those, like, do those videos. Yeah. You can't do any. You, as a host, are exclusive to that for those 2 months. Mm-hmm. So then everyone else would John can do videos, I can do videos, and Grant,
but I can't be on those videos.
But you can't be on those videos, so it would have to be us.
Curveball. That would be very difficult. Yeah. Because it's very hard. It's already very difficult to schedule people. Mm-hmm. So it would be even harder to have to schedule. I'd probably have to lay it out with a bunch of people ahead of time and be like, I need to know that we can get this. There'd probably be a lot of you and Matt Frank videos because you and me and Matt all stay up real late, right? Mm-hmm. Like John can't be recording at 1 o'clock in the morning, but.
I think it's funny that like people don't understand how hard scheduling is to the point that John and I can't even be in a video together.
Yes,
because our schedules are so far off.
People have not understood scheduling for the entirety of Rage Select.
People forget like people have regular jobs, so then they forget like. Yeah, why don't you have Matt Frank and Amanda in this? And it's like, oh, because Amanda works until 1 a.m. and Matt Frank like leaves here at like 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Also, you're like Jason Murphy doing everything. Grant Davis has 2 children. Brian Salisbury also just had a kid. Yeah. Like, everybody's adulting around here, and I'm just like, hey, will you come make dick jokes on a video game show?
Also, it's like, oh, this person lives all the way downtown, and it's like it's real hard to get all the way over here.
That is also very, very true. Okay, so Matt, our next question comes in, and Matt, this is one that I feel like Amanda can maybe relate to. Okay. Maybe a little too much.
Uh-oh.
Matt says, hey, Jeff and great human being of a co-host, Amanda.
You don't know that.
I've enjoyed the last few podcasts this summer when Jeff's talked about frustration with people's reaction to things. I can relate. I thought I'd been toning that down. Maybe I haven't. Maybe I've been ramping it up.
You have not.
Okay. Never mind then. All right, there you go. I spend much of my daily time as an elected member of the local town council. If it sounds great, it is. Except when people don't like your decisions. Imagine working 30-plus hours a week as a volunteer and then have someone assume you're the devil and hate children and cupcakes and kittens because garbage pickup is late by an hour or there's a pothole in the road. I'm lucky to have a great team and good support in my significant other to simply brush off the haters and incompetent folks. I've been much better at just brushing it off and enjoying my time helping folks. What do you do to shake these things off? How do you make the transition between pointless complaints to acceptance? Rage on. Ignore the haters, everyone. And remember to always be bold. Your faithful Patreon subscriber, Matt.
Put on headphones, put your head down, do your work.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because they can complain all they want, but they're not going to do your fucking job.
That's true.
So put your, and for me, any negative vibes always go away with good music. So, put on or even, a podcast if you're somebody that, listens to, because that helps me out, too. I work faster when I listen to a podcast or I listen to music, because it's, something else to focus on. Yeah. Put on your headphones, put your head down, get your fucking work done. There's no point in engaging in complaints. There's no point in engaging people who are nitpicking and being complete fucking douchebags for the sake of trying to have some weird power trip over you.
Yeah.
Fuck it. It's the biggest, most pointless thing ever I've ever had to deal with.
I'm not very good at it. I've never been very good at it, and so I just have to stop reading the comment sections basically and look at numbers. I'll look at likes and dislikes, and I'll look at the number of hits things happen. I'm usually pretty good with the comment sections on Rage Select, but
YouTube is a bit more of a garbage fire.
Yeah, I kind of try to stay away from YouTube because it's there are a lot of people on there, Somebody once on YouTube said that they witnessed me call Corey the N-word in person, and I'm just like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, that's so far from anything you would ever possibly do that you didn't even gain a reaction from me from a shock of somebody even thinking that, because it didn't happen.
One time in the comment section on Facebook, one of the few people that I banned in my life said that I was a Republican because I like to tell people what to do and what to think because of the way that I talk on the podcast. And I'm like,
huh?
I don't even understand that.
Yeah,
it's a podcast where I give my opinion about a thing. If not my opinion, then what? So for me, I get hung up on a lot of the garbage fire stuff. It's less these days than it used to, but if it particularly, I will not read the comment section on the Sonic video. It's got more dislikes, and I'm just like, I don't even want to hear it. I just don't fucking want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because the problem that you get into is there is a subtle, with this particular job, there is a subtle pressure that comes, especially I don't talk about this all that much, but I have some mental self-esteem problems that I've wrestled with my entire life. And for the most part, they're getting better the older I get because I just have, it's the little dark voices in your head. It's harder to listen to them when you have more life experience, because you're just well, when has that ever happened? When has that ever happened, little dark voice, where they're just ha ha, you're the worst, and it's never
anytime I come in and work with you.
That's right. But at a certain point I had to start pulling away from that, because I think if you go back and listen to the stuff that's on the Spill archive of the Loading Bar, you'll hear a very different Jeff.
Yeah.
Because
for sure.
I was younger, and there was I use a lot of weasel words now that have just gotten integrated in my vocabulary when I talk about video games, about well, I think that it's pretty good. Whatever you think, I just feel the need to just be you're entitled to your opinion. I personally think,
or you'll
blah, blah.
preface it with now this is just my opinion, and if you don't agree, that's totally fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to head that stuff off, because I'll be honest, it's not if you go into the comment section of this podcast and you're just Death Note was a great movie and I really liked it, you're full of shit. And I'm just, or Death Note was a great movie and I really enjoyed it. I feel sad that you couldn't enjoy it like I did. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But people be like, why are you such a stupid, pompous, fucked up
asshole? Couldn't even figure out the subtle intricacies of the Death Note movie.
Sure.
It's too dumb. Guess you have to go back to watching your bullshit Michael Bay movies.
There you go. Exactly. Right.
You're welcome. I already wrote your comment for you, so you don't have to do it.
And there's just a subtle amount, because I've been doing this for 4 years of Rage Select and 2 years of Spill, 6 years. So it is incredibly difficult, if you're not the sort of person that criticism just slides off of by default, to put up with that, because I don't know what it is about the way that I speak or the way that I express myself, but going back to the loading bar, you know, the only person who got more shit than me was fucking Nick, and that was just because
that's just easy.
He had a reaction.
Yeah.
He have a reaction to it,
like,
right?
Yeah.
But you know,
I was like, "Fuck Nick," and I like Nick. I love Nick. He's great.
You know, I wrestled with it for a long time, and then I remember listening to one of the Cracked podcasts where they were literally like, because they have a thing on Cracked where they basically have a forum where people can submit story ideas, and they will take a person who's never really written for the internet before and kind of mold them to write an article for Cracked about a thing that they know about in the style of Cracked with the stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were talking about how, like, you know, they got people who come off the streets and they write an article for Cracked, and all of them will say the first day, don't fucking read the comment section. And then they do, and then those people just disappear because they're just like, somebody got hung up on some turn of phrase, and then that became the top comment that everybody was responding to, and then it became this big vicious cycle. And I'm sorry if you've never experienced before, but like, unless you are just immune to criticism, which most people are not, it's real brutal. Like, it could be real tough.
I pride myself on being somebody, because I've been dealing with, I also, you know, work for Spill for a long time, and I was definitely the person that like people were supposed to go to for complaints and things like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of got a lot of weird, shitty people. And I took pride in being the person that was like water off a duck's back about it.
Yeah.
But there were plenty of times where I'd be like, fuck this particular person. And I would like get heated about it. There are people to this day that are friends with other people on Facebook from Spill that when I see their fucking faces, that it just like my blood boils because of it.
Oh yeah. There are about 4 or 5 like usernames. There were at least like a dozen when Rage Select first started that like we all knew
we'd be like,
who that was.
Yeah, we'd be talking about a comment, be like, oh, you talking about this person?
Yep,
we'd be like, yes.
Yep. So anyway, to go, not to just carp and complain,
yeah, sorry,
because it is a good job. It's just, it's difficult.
Like it's hard for people who are outside of this sort of thing to realize that this scrutiny that comes with it is never ending.
Yeah.
Especially because you're posting up a video every single day of the week, and somebody always has something negative to say about every single thing.
Yep.
Now, on top of that, if you're somebody that's even more active, that includes, they'll post something on Facebook, they'll post something on Twitter, they'll post something to your Instagram, they'll post. So it's constant. I'm just saying, or like, you know, just my honest opinion or whatever. But it's a constant like negative poke throughout the day, every single day. Yep. And you either have to be 100% not paying attention to it, or 100% godly and can just handle it. And that's just not something anyone can do. So
generally, how do you shake things off for me is I have to either talk to somebody else about it, specifically complain to another human being.
Don't internalize it.
I don't talk about it on Facebook or Twitter. I have to talk about it to another person because I don't like to put I've tried venting, I'm using quoting fingers here, venting on Facebook, and it's no good. Because sometimes
people get mean about it.
I vented on Facebook one time, and I think one of my friends was like, you know, I don't know that you're in the right job. Maybe you should find something else to do. And I'm just like, that's not what I was looking for. I'm going to play video games for a living, motherfucker. Like,
yeah, I mean, it'd be like, if not to compare this job to being a cop, but like if you're a cop and you go on Facebook and you had a hard day and you're like, man, I just had a really hard day, and they're like, well, maybe you shouldn't be a cop anymore. You ever think about that? And it's like, no.
My job and a cop's job are actually very similar.
Yeah, kind of. Maybe if I had said firefighter, and then like, because you both put out fires every once in a while, because there's always something fucking going wrong.
Yeah, but it's, for me, a lot of it is, it just, to be honest, last year I had a lot of, during the summertime last year, it was just one bad thing in my life after another, and I just stopped looking at Facebook, and I just stopped reading the comments, and I try to keep an eye on the ones on the website, but the YouTube ones, all I look at is how many hits, and then the number of likes and the number of dislikes, because I just can't with that stuff. Like, it's become
sometimes it's
too fucked
funny
up.
Though. Like, you have to really hone in your sense of humor with it, because sometimes when they're talking shit, if you really look at it, in a funny way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fucking hilarious. Sometimes it seems like people are just one person talking to themselves in different screen names, and that makes it even funnier to me.
Yeah. And then as far as how do you make the transition between pointless complaints to acceptance, which I don't, how do you go to accepting the stuff? I don't know. But see, here's the thing, Matt, is that what you're talking about was when I had my job doing like phone support or even retail, the customer complaints were never really as much of a problem because they weren't really complaining about me. They were complaining about the policy that I enforced.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's one of those things where you got to go, I don't make the rules here. All right. Like, and be like, well, I can go ask my manager, knowing full well your manager's going to be like, no.
Yeah.
And so you go back and you go, hey, just, there were a few times where I would go back and I'd say, just say no to me. And they'd be like, no. And I'd be like, I'm sorry.
They're like, sure. And you're like, fucking Jesus.
And before you comment that sounds horrible, this would be a question that had been asked to me over and over and over again that had never been made an exception for. And I knew that I just had to go back and appear to be talking to somebody for a few minutes and then go back and say, I'm sorry. These are the rules. You have to abide by them.
Well, especially sometimes it's like there's no possible way this can be done. There's literally like there's not a button on the system that allows us to do this. And they'll be like, talk to your manager. And it's like, hey, manager, is there a button on the system that allows us to do this? No. Cool. Yeah. And then you go back and go, yeah, no, he said, no, we can't use the magic button that you just made up.
Yeah. My favorite story about that was even when people tried to personally attack me when I worked at Dell and other retail place that I worked. It just, that never had any effect on me because for that it was like, my job is to be a cool customer service person. And so if you make me mad, then I failed at my job. And there was one time where I remember somebody said, they asked me to do something that was just completely off the wall. This is when I worked at Dell, and this was years ago. And I was about to say that what am I going to do? Name names. I don't remember. This was like 15, 20 years ago.
You didn't memorize it?
And this person said, do you know who I am? And I was like, no. And they're like, I play golf with the CEO's dad. And I was like, cool? Yeah. I mean.
That must be fun.
Yeah. Like, what you're asking me to do violates company policy. I literally just don't have a way to do that. And it's just like you made it. It's like if you went to Subway and you were like, chicken nuggets. And they were like, sir, we don't have chicken or a fryer. And you're like, chicken nuggets. Do you know who I am? I play Pinochle with Donald Subway's father on the weekends. Make me chicken nuggets, motherfucker.
I worked at Popeye's Chicken. I have to tell a story now. I worked at Popeye's Chicken, and Eddie Winslow, did you ever watch Family Matters?
Yes.
Okay, the older brother?
Yeah.
He came in with a fucking entourage, right? Ordered chicken strips.
Okay.
And the cashier, I was the person in charge. I was the shift leader. He fucking Jesus. God. Sorry, Jeff looked up his picture and it just brought back the whole memory of everything. So he came in with like a fucking entourage of people, whatever, orders a bunch of food, which is fine. And then he asks for more sauce, dipping sauce, than we usually give with the food.
Right.
I don't give a fuck and will give people, if they go, hey, can I get a couple more? I'd be like, yeah, whatever, fuck it. It's a fucking dipping sauce. Like, I'm not like a dick. I am. But, like, when it comes to people's food, I'm always way nicer.
But I am not going to make you have dry nuggets. All right?
Yeah,
we all know the pain of dry nuggets.
Right. It's just a weird thing to be, like, a douchebag of, like, you have to pay an extra 50 cents for this, which is what my cashier did. And who's a cashier that was, like, a real asshole anyway. And the guy, he starts raising a huge huff. And then she goes to me, and I'm in charge, so, you know, it's her job to come to me. And she comes to me, and she's like, this guy's starting fucking issues, and can you go over and talk to him? And so I go, and he's like, are you in charge? And I'm like, yeah. And he had sunglasses on, and lowers his sunglasses and goes, do you know who I am? And I go, yeah, because I did. And he goes, can I please get some more whatever dipping sauce it was? And I'm like,
Yeah.
And then I gave him some dipping sauce. And he looked at his entourage like, see, fucking that's all it took. And then left. And it's like, I mean, you cost us like $2 worth of dipping sauce.
If
like
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just like, it was really funny. And she's like, I can't believe you did it just because he's a celebrity. And I'm like, I did it because he fucking asked.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit.
What are you
It's
gonna do?
Eddie Winslow.
Tell people they can't have a dipping sauce? Come on. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from that. Our next question comes in from Danny. Danny says, good luck, good day, podcasters. Sorry.
We need good luck.
Good day, podcasters. Danny, the bespectacled gamer here. Lately, I look back at some things that I once loved, find they haven't aged so well for me. For example, one of the most revered superhero movies of our time, Spider-Man 2. What is my problem with the movie? It's not a flaw exactly, so much as it is an element that has since become an overdone plot device in superhero stories. Let's call it having godlike powers sure is a bummer. Am I right? Spider-Man 2, most of the Nolan Bat films, Superman 2, Fantastic Four. They all go through this tired plot of being a superhero really is a drag, and I just don't like it. My questions, are there any overdone elements in storytelling that you just don't need to see retread anymore? And what is an example of something much beloved that you can't revisit now without ruining the memory? Thank you for all you do and keep on raging, Danny. Danny, I would like to point out very briefly that while Spider-Man 2 and the Nolan Bat films are perfect examples of this, Superman just wanted to fucking like have a girlfriend. And I can't really like, I mean, you know, maybe just like be easy. But the Fantastic Four, look, man, I can understand that Ben Grimm doesn't want to be a big fucking rock monster, right? Like, he lost his wife. He can't fucking wear clothes. He's walking around the streets denting the pavement. He can't fucking push the buttons on the phone anymore.
He can't take an elevator.
Like, that's, I can understand wanting to not be the ever-loving blue-eyed thing anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, overdone elements in storytelling that you just don't need to see retread anymore.
Pulling away from superheroes, not doing superheroes.
Okay.
I could live without the how do I reach these kids stories. Like the teacher like fucking going to a school and showing kids how to learn because they're all gangsters or millennials or whatever. Yeah, like I'm over that. Even if it's based on a true story, you just come off like a douchebag at this point.
Yeah. I got one.
Yeah.
This is hot off the heels of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Boy, I could really just get behind if we could all get rid of the like, you guys were my real family this whole time. And it's like, fuck you. Does nobody in LA have friends that they're very deeply connected with over a period of time? Because it's just like,
no, they're in LA.
Okay. Just a bunch of fucking
fake people
hot
like
vultures.
Oh, this is my close personal friend. He just made a movie and that's why he's my close personal friend for right now. And then they move on. Yeah. No.
I think that's really silly because it's just like, well, yeah, man, we're all just like fucking like hanging out and whatever. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things where people come to this realization and it's just like, oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah.
You didn't know about that?
That was more of an issue because the first movie actually ends with them basically calling themselves a family. And then the next one, they're like, just kidding, we're not family. Oh, no, we are. Who would have guessed?
I got another one. Movies and television shows and everything in between, most of them, right? Only have two types of drinking person. One is a person that is sober but is drinking. This is like Mad Men, right? Of like, we're just gonna be fucking
they
drinking
drink
cocktails
it all the time and only like nobody.
And it's just like, let me do a flip and drive this car, whatever. Like James Bond drinking fucking martinis and then like doing flips and stuff. And it's like, look, man, alcohol doesn't.
Okay, so in fairness, if you're actually paying attention to Mad Men, there is a single character who gets so pissed drunk that he literally pees himself.
Yeah.
And several characters get into car accidents.
Okay, well, I listen. I never watched Mad Men. I'm just using that as a particular.
No, but you're right because if you're not like focused in on it, because I'm kind of laser focused in on that sort of thing.
Yeah.
you wouldn't notice that. You would think that they're just like sober dudes drinking soda kind of thing. Like it's not even affecting them whatsoever.
Cheers is a good example.
Yeah.
Because those that sit in a bar and like there should be a few episodes where fucking Norm is just like shit ass wasted, right? Or because the thing is that the other thing is that they're either sober people drinking fizzy urine water or they're fucking like drunk.
They're white girl wasted.
The most drunk that a human being. There's never anybody that's like, there's never anybody in a movie where it's like they're drinking and they like stumble and they're like, "Hey man, are you all right?" It's like, "Yeah, hold on. Okay, all right, no,
yeah, we're good.
Let's go get some pancakes. I think I'm good to get some pancakes, and then we'll all go home."
Yeah, it's always just the like, "Woo, I'm on top of the bar dancing." Yeah.
I also don't like the fact that I think that House is one of the only shows I've ever seen in my entire life where it's like a person with a substance abuse problem where it's not continuously ruining their life every minute of every day.
Yeah.
Where like it's a thing that for the most part is relatively under control, but like every so often kind of fucks up and goes off the rails, which I feel like is more what substance abuse is like, and less just like fucking shit, I can't crash my car into an orphanage again. What?
Yeah.
Like,
why are you driving around the orphanage? Why are you always around the orphanage?
That's the best place to do donuts. They had the best parking lot to do donuts.
The orphans sell me the drugs.
Also, I'm sorry, this is way off base, but I'm going to keep complaining about this until the fucking day I die.
Yeah, go for it.
Fucking day I die. Put some amount of liquid in those coffee cups, all right? Because ever since I noticed it, every coffee cup in Hollywood is empty. They're so empty. People don't handle them with the respect that a hot beverage has.
I think that's more says something about the actors than anything.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know what bothers me? This isn't a thing like that. It's a little more close to the coffee cup thing. Close the door. Do you know how fucking annoying it is to see people like kick their fucking front door open, walk through, and never close their door?
Oh.
Like you can, and then they'll see shots, and you'll literally see to the front yard, and it's like, close your door.
Does that happen a lot?
It does all the time. Really, once you start watching it, it ruins everything because people will always open doors and never close them, and it just drives me insane.
On that particular topic, this is another one that I feel like I've heard about either on another podcast or saw a video on the internet. Nobody says goodbye or hello
on the phone
in movies.
Yeah,
they're just like rage select, and then like when they're done, they literally just like hang up the phone without saying goodbye.
Yeah, no, I want a turkey on rye. Hang up.
Clank.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine being the person on the other end of that line? Like, dick?
Yeah. Nobody likes getting hung up on. I'm trying to think of like upper tier themes here.
But once you get higher, like upper tier stuff, you're basically regurgitating after hours. Because that's basically what they do.
Yeah.
But jobs in movies, like if it's not based on a real person, their jobs are always really fucking stupid and it never takes any time of their day.
Yeah.
I've decided that it's a little, it plays into some people. When I was dealing with like hardcore depression, it plagued me to watch movies and see people with all the fucking time in the world.
Yep.
And then be like, oh yeah, my job that I do that you never see them do. And then they like, oh man, there's something weird about romantic comedies where there are like any weird chick flick where they have these lucrative jobs that don't make any sense. And then like I own a pie shop and I'm a millionaire, and it's like, nah, that's not how that works. Like you would be in debt and you'd be spending all your time in a fucking pie shop.
Yeah.
And but then they also have time to like date fucking, I don't know, Johnny Depp or whoever, Matthew McConaughey most likely, like every other day of the week. It's like, when are you working? How is that a thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, no jobs that just.
No, that was a big one in Friends. Is that like if you were watching Friends in your like formative years, and then you went out into the world and you're just like, why does my apartment look so shitty?
Yeah.
Like I have a full-time job that's not bad, and I can't get an apartment that's anywhere near as good looking as that, or their clothes, or the amount of time they sit around drinking coffee. And it's like most people fucking get up, they get their ass to work, and then when they come from work, it's like you got to make some dinner, you got to do some laundry, and then you got like 2 hours to do a thing.
I legitimately have
3
friends that are mad at me.
Yeah.
or not mad at me, but like they kind of are a little like snippy about social stuff because I will literally be like, oh, I don't know. I haven't seen John in like 4 days and I only get 2 days off. So I'm probably just going to stay home with my fiance. And they're like, you never come out with us. And it's like, yeah, I have a job. And then after my job, I try to spend time with like the people I love. And you guys are on that list, but you're like much lower than the person that I'm marrying.
Yeah.
He lets me see him naked. So he kind of higher on the list.
Yep.
And then they're like, we'll let you see us naked. And I'm like, nah, hang on.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's fine. All right. Send those pictures in though.
Ooh, I tell you what, that movie. I was looking through like recent releases, trying to think of movies that I've seen and things that bothered me about them. This isn't like a lot of movies that have this problem, but this movie Life, where
I really want to see it. Is it bad?
It's not great, but it's okay. It's kind of worth watching. The problem that I have is that. So for anybody who doesn't know, it's like there was a little blob monster they find in space, and then they like bring it to the space station.
And then they poke at it, and then it goes, I'm alive again! And then it starts attacking people.
And it starts eating people. Like the whole thing was those dudes in that the dudes and the lady in that and the ladies in that movie are far too concerned with living because they identify very early on that little motherfucking blob monster could, if it ever got down to Earth, is just going to replicate and it's going to kill everything.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. So blow up the space station. Not like, well, if we set a timer and then we go to the escape pods, we could probably escape in time. And then it's like, but I hope the monster doesn't follow us to the escape pods. It's like, there's 13 of you and what did we say? 7 billion or whatever, like humans on Earth. Hit the big red button and blow up your space station.
Yeah, sorry, you guys are not as important as
like all
of human existence.
You lost. Yeah. Sorry, you lost this game. Got to blow up the space station and go on with your life. So.
You know, McCready made that choice in The Thing to blow everything up, whether he was a part of it or not.
That's a superior movie, to be sure.
Well, yeah, it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
All right, this next one comes in from Christopher. Christopher says, hey, Jeff and Amanda, quick question for you. Sorry if you answered this already. What is one game or game series that you like and enjoy either playing or watching, but you just can't get the hang of it to be really good at it? Example, most people enjoy Call of Duty, but some just can't get good at it. Well, you gotta make my answer your example, Christopher. For me, it's Injustice/Injustice 2. I love DC Comics and enjoy fighting games in general, but no matter how hard I practice, no matter how many damn tutorials I watch online, and no matter how hard I pray to the almighty Dong Lord from above, my stupid fingers can't do what I want them to. I rage so hard! I'm usually really good at video games.
If your rage lasts longer than 3 hours,
consult a physician. NBA 2K, Call of Duty, Hitman, etc. And what's most frustrating is I know how to play and know what to do in the situation, but it's like there's a disconnect from my brain to my fingers.
My fucking thumbs aren't doing the thing.
It's like I panic, like asking out a girl like I'm in high school again. Jeff, I'm sure you know what that's like. Lol, sorry. I could quit, but the game is solid and fun. Anyway, I'd much rather watch the pros play it on YouTube. This is P.S. Can you do a sequential Saturday of The Evil Within? I know you like horror games. I'd love to see you guys play it. I would do anything you asked to see it happen. The game isn't that long. Thanks a lot. You guys are my favorite channel of YouTube. Woo!
Woo!
Christopher.
You said you like to watch professionals, and then you said we're your favorite channel on YouTube.
Woo! Professional.
Cannot trust your opinion now.
I feel like this may be some well-trodden ground for me, but Amanda, game that you like or enjoy playing, but you feel like you just can't get the hang of it to be good.
I can't think of one that I like playing off the top of my head, but the first thing I thought of is the fact that I really enjoy watching you play Dark Souls, and I really enjoyed watching John play what is it, Bloodborne? But I know for a fact that that would be one of those games that I'd like get into, and then like an hour later I'm like, oh, I can't play this game. But I really enjoy watching the gameplay of it. I've watched several Let's Players do full Let's Plays of Bloodborne. And I've also sat here for 2 hours and watched you play Kerbal Space Program once.
Kerbal Space Program is an amazing game.
And I'm not even playing. I'm just wow. But I'm trying to think of one that I've like actually tried to sit down and play that I liked. But
I'll tell you my white whales that I'll never be like, because I feel like when we played Call of Duty World War II beta this week, I enjoyed playing it. Not enough to really play it like. You know, those crafty little fucking motherfuckers over at Blizzard.
Yeah.
I log in every Monday evening and get those 3 loot boxes that I get for playing the arcade mode all the time. Like, as soon as they announced that they were doing summer games and I saw that Soldier 76 grill skin, I was like, playing Overwatch again. Whereas in Call of Duty, it's like, oh, you leveled up. You got a sight for your grease gun or, ooh. And I'm like, huzzah. And it's just those little nothing fucking loot boxes, that little squirt of I got something that the gambling reflex, what do they call that psychological phenomena that they do, Skinner box stuff of like do you know what that is?
No.
It's like a series of equations. They use it a lot for gambling. They used to use it in the past a lot for like video gambling and stuff like that. They now use it for video games, mostly free to play games, where it's like the amount of time where you have to give somebody a reward to keep them on a continuously forward motion.
Yeah.
Diablo is a perfect example of how that game is tuned so that right when you're about to quit, new item, new power, new level, new story beat. Like, it's just enough to keep you clicking along to the point where then you lose a bajillion million hours.
Yeah. That's actually a thing in songs, a lot of pop songs, is that like they'll do the example that I can think of is that Bruno Mars song that was real popular for a while. I can't think of what it's called, but there's a hard break in it. And that's because especially pop songs are popular and well played on the radio because their lyrics tend to be like cycled over and over again, so you can memorize the lyrics really easily. But because of that, it gets boring for people, so then you have to put breaks in it, and that's why like in that song goes, stop, wait a minute, fill my cup, put some liquor in it, and then it like moves on back into the song.
Okay.
Because it'll like, that is kind of the reward idea, is that like it stops the monotony of just the repetition of the chorus over and over again.
I see that. No, but going back to what I was saying, for me, I really like fighting games, and I really enjoy playing Injustice 2, but I don't want to play people online. Like, I don't want to develop the muscle memory that's needed. And by the way, Christopher, that's really all that it is you just need to, like, this is horrible. This is advice that nobody ever wants to hear. But, like, let's say that you want to play Injustice online, you just have to go play it online, and you just get your ass kicked, because the way that you get from the emotional reaction that causes you not to be able to think about what you're doing to being able to be smooth and work the way things are working is you have to expose yourself to the emotion of the fight enough times to be so that that's not affecting you, so that that response gets deadened a little bit. Like, it's still, you'll get a good win, but like if every time that I played Overwatch, I was just like, oh shit, everything's split, which one is the shoot button again? Which way? Like, then you would never get anything done, as opposed to just being like, all right, I'm going to throw a rocket over there, I'm going to put the thing over here, I'm going to fucking blow that up, I'm going to go to level 2, I know where this is going.
You've watched me play. You know that I can do both at the same time.
That's true. That's very true. But for me, the ones that is fighting games. Like, I'd really like to be good at Skullgirls. I'd like to be better at Injustice. But I just can't. And then the other one is MOBAs, but I'll never be able to do that because it's like 150 hours just to learn to be bad at Dota 2. And like, I'm sorry, but
I don't have that kind of time.
Oh, I already
do I have, like, chick that owns a pie shop time? I don't have that kind of time.
You think I got friends time? I don't got friends time. Well, I already have a few very solid video game addictions, ladies and gentlemen. I don't need another one in my life.
In case you couldn't tell, he almost tried to sell Rage Slick Down the River for 2 months straight of hypothetical video game. Metal Gear Solid.
Sad that's not a game. Is there anything else that you feel like falls in that list?
I just can't think of anything.
Okay,
I mean, I have a tendency to just like fall in love with games that I can play. Tend to be easy to jump in, easy to jump out kind of games. Anything with like long story, it's really hard for me to like get to it just because I don't have the time to dedicate to be like, oh, every day I'm going to play this game kind of thing. So
that's another good one. Is my overall attention span is shorter, so. I actually wish that I could devote more time to playing. Like, I've stalled on The Witcher, Persona, Nier Automata, like anything that's more than about 20 hours anymore. And I'm just kind of like, over it. Just what's the next thing? Because I'm a fucking game hooker, man. It's just like, bring me the next John or whatever. I don't know. This metaphor is fucked up. I don't like to play the same game for more than about 8 hours.
Yeah.
After about 8 hours, I'm done with the game and I want to move on to the next thing, because it's kind of like there's all these things to experience in the gaming world. Like, I don't want to spend 150 hours playing Dota when I could be playing that breakdancing game that we were talking about, or like fucking trying out Destiny 2, or like I just finished Absolver and I've got this Japanese horror game that I'd like to play, and then like Rock of Ages 2 came out this week, and like fuck, there's still more boxes in Overwatch to get. Like, I don't like to stay one place for too long in video games. So all right, we got a couple more questions here. This next one comes in from Daniel. Daniel says, hello, Jeff and Amanda. Every now and then I see articles gossiping about the big console manufacturers pulling out of the business. One of the ones I remember was last year when it was rumored that some Microsoft stockholders were pressuring the company to sell or spin off the Xbox division. My question is this: how much of an impact do you think would this have on the industry? In the scenario that one of the manufacturers spun off a video game division, who would take the reins? Thanks and take care, Daniel. Okay. This is a difficult question. I don't think.
Yeah, that's kind of a hard one.
I don't think either one of us have the expertise to answer who takes the reins, because it would be an industry person, right? It would be somebody we've never heard of. It'd be, fucking Larry Smeagolden, like, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, who's he? And he's like, oh, he ran fucking the watch division of Apple for 4 years, and then before that he was in the Ford acoustics department. Like, you would get some person who had some other industry experience. But as far as what would be the impact, would it have an impact if, let's just say, okay, for the sake of argument, Nintendo is Nintendo, so they don't count. PC is just all over the place.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
So we've got Microsoft, we've got Sony to work with. So let's start with the first one. If Microsoft spun out Xbox into a separate company from Microsoft, that would be huge.
Yeah.
Because right now Microsoft uses Windows tech for all the UI in the Xbox. They have a lot of cross.
Do you think them spinning out would prevent them from doing that? Would they not still be Microsoft, but they just be like...
it wouldn't be as much transparency.
Or would it be like literally cutting it off and being like,
I feel
Xbox is no longer Microsoft Xbox. It is its own thing.
It would be its own company, like its own company that is not even owned by Microsoft.
Okay, like that would change a lot, but I don't know if that would be to its benefit.
In some ways, I feel like it could be, because I feel like,
well, I wouldn't be tied down by the Microsoft stuff, but it also was benefiting from being a part of a tech company.
That's true, but I feel like in a lot of ways, Microsoft actually holds the Xbox back by requiring this weirdo like Windows 10 integration. And like, so there's a thing where all of the games for the Xbox One also have to be compatible with Windows 10. At least the first party Microsoft games. I feel like that's incredibly restrictive, because why would anybody buy an Xbox One when they could just buy a PC with Windows 10 on it? Well, I mean, obviously the price, right? But the Scorpio is like 2/3 of the way to a fucking kick-ass PC anyway. So at that point, you have to start asking yourself, why not just go the rest of the way and spend $800 on a PC instead of $600 on a Scorpio?
Yeah.
With Windows 10 on it, and I could just play all these games on Windows 10. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah. I don't know. So here's just what I'm thinking about is that like switching to Sony, just because, but I can't remember which one it was, but I think it was PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 was a Blu-ray player.
PS3.
PlayStation 3 was a Blu-ray player.
PS2 was a DVD player.
Right. And that's because it was a Blu-ray player because that's Sony's like pony that it backed, right? Like it was like Blu-ray's the way of the future and whatever, and that's why they wanted it on there.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Because PlayStation 3 was Blu-ray, and then Microsoft, whatever Xbox that was the HD DVD, and they backed the wrong pony.
But I don't know.
So I'm just saying, like, that to me, because that was a huge selling point for PlayStation, was that it was a cheaper Blu-ray player. And it was because of its connection to Sony. If PlayStation was just its own thing, it wouldn't even probably at that point wouldn't have even thought about it. Like, oh, we should make sure we can do Blu-rays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're connected to. So I just feel like there are certain benefits that we don't realize come from them being interconnected that we would lose. And then all of a sudden you have to get your Xbox and a Blu-ray player and a 4K DVD player or whatever the next thing, ultraviolet player.
I feel like it's. I mean, I feel like there's both pluses and minuses. It would definitely change the landscape. I mean, like Microsoft has bullied the Xbox into. They bullied through the original Xbox to the Xbox 360 where they found success. Right, like the original Xbox was nowhere close to the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 ruled that console generation. Now, in the next generation, the Xbox 360 was king of the hill for a long time because they had a cheaper console out faster that was able to do, a lot. But I feel like without the backing of those parent corporations and having to make their moves on their own, they would probably be a little bit more conservative because I know that Sony lost a shitload of money on the PlayStation division until it started turning around and turning a profit. But in the early days, they fucked that up real bad. And if it was its own business, it's possible it might have gone out of business. I don't even actually. You know what? Now that you think about it, now that I verbalize it, I don't know if they can exist without a big company backing them because what they're trying to do is kind of a strange thing. Like you want people to own this one-use box that then locks you into one software ecosystem. It's kind of a strange thing when you take. I mean,
doesn't it only work for Nintendo because of the successes they had were so huge in the past that they kind of have a little leeway with their failures? Where if it's like a PlayStation or an Xbox, if they were independent, it would have. I don't know if their successes have risen as much as like the N64 did for them, or the.
I feel like if it was on Sony's side, that if the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 worked the same way, they might have gone out of business on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
And with Xbox, they might not have made a second console with the way that the first Xbox sold. I don't know. It's hard to say. Sorry, Daniel.
I just don't know if we'd have long-term consoles.
Yeah, good question. All right, our last question this week comes in from Michael. Michael says... hello, Jeff and Amanda. Thanks for answering my question. Lots of popular gaming franchises lay dormant despite fan clamor. My theory is that no one currently at the company has any passion to make another sequel or original people.
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Made the game have left. Metroid, anyone? But with how well and highly rated the new Sonic Mania game is, would you say that more and more companies should be looking towards popular fan-made games or instances of inspiration as a good way to keep the franchises going? For example, I would love to see a completely brand new Earthbound game with Toby Fox as the director. I don't know who that is. Keep the good work and stay cool, Michael. So if I'm remembering this correctly and not completely mangling it, that Sonic game that just came out was like a mod project where they then hired the dudes that did the modding for it to make that game.
Okay, that makes sense. Toby Fox is the guy that did Undertale.
Oh, okay.
And he started by making or I don't know if he started, but he definitely made a fan game that was based on whatever that RPG was that he mentioned that I can't think of off the top of my head.
What RPG?
Well, he said like Toby Fox. What was the...
Oh, Earthbound.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, his thing started as he did an Earthbound game, and then he decided to do his own thing with Undertale.
To be honest, I feel like it's funny because the question here is... would you say that more companies should be looking towards popular fan-made games or instances of inspiration as a good way to keep franchises going? No.
No, I think that's a great way to find new, to like this person made a really loved fan game of this franchise. We should hire them to make their version of that. You know what I mean? Like, Undertale is Toby Fox's Earthbound, essentially.
Right.
So why not just have Undertale instead of, we gave him another Earthbound game?
Yeah. I mean, as much as I like, I can see why people like Sonic Mania, but like, let's be real clear here. Sonic Mania is a throwback game. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not doing anything for the franchise. So, like, Pokemon Uranium that was made by those two dudes like last year, that was a different Pokemon game, but it was like it's still in the very much the same vein of that same stuff. I don't know. I feel like I'm torn because on the one hand, I do like the idea of bringing in people who are big fans of the franchises instead of making calculated, cynical decisions about like, well, we need to put out another Call of Duty this year because I need more money. My golden yacht needs debarnacling, right?
I really hate how much barnacles accumulate on my golden yacht.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to gold, by the way. So.
On the other hand, I don't like the idea of this is a weird 10,000 feet view thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of fans of a franchise dictating where that franchise goes because there's a lot of fandom that just wants the same thing over and over again. And like my favorite...
That's how you get The Force Awakens. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud.
Ooh. My favorite, as much as I talk about Souls these days, my favorite, the reason that Hideo Kojima was in there is because Hideo Kojima is like my second favorite or first favorite or my original, or like I love all my babies equally and I can't tell between them. Don't ask me to make that choice. But what's interesting about...
Next hypothetical.
Yes. What's interesting about Kojima is that every Metal Gear game is a different game.
Mm-hmm.
They all, like, Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 are the most similar, but Metal Gear 2 introduced the first-person system. They introduced holding people up. They introduced being able to, like, a whole new verb set of looking on cover. Metal Gear Solid 3 put the game in an open world where you could blend in with camouflage, and you had to survive by eating and tending to your wounds. Yeah. Metal Gear Solid 4 had this faction-based system, and you could turn invisible and fucking be the Predator, and you could do all this blah, 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 blah.
Uh-huh.
And then Metal Gear Solid 5 had a bigger open world with, like, more things and things you could do. Metal Gear Peace Walker. They're all very different games, and I like it when games don't just do... Because if a game just does the same thing, like I would actually say that was maybe one of the problems that I was having with Andromeda, was that Andromeda was very much still a Mass Effect. Like it was like it didn't evolve very much. It was like
it felt like a soulless, dead behind the eyes Mass Effect, didn't it?
You remember the Mako, right? Well, we did that, but now it's fun to drive, and it's like, but I already drove. You know, like even by Mass Effect 3, there was a certain amount of that, like piloting your little guy around the star systems, where I'm just like, more of this, or by Dead Space 3, where it's just like, oh look, it's another Dead Space. Like, say what you will about Resident Evil, but at least they've got weirder but fucking crazier.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 is such a departure, and 7's what I've wanted since 4, right? 5 was okay, 6 was kind of but 7 I thought was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And what happened there is they took a fucking completely different left turn chance on something new. And so I feel like if you just let your fans tell you what to do, they're just going to be like, make Dark Souls 3, and then you're making Dark Souls 3 instead of Bloodborne, which I thought was... I went back and played some Bloodborne this weekend. Man, I love that game. Like, and it's so different. It has such a different flavor to it than Dark Souls 3, which is just like, oh, you remember Dark Souls, here's more Dark Souls. So I don't know that I want fans making video games.
I feel like fans making video games is great. I think fans making actual games that are a part of the franchise and part of that canon of that franchise might not be the right choice, even if they make a good game, because you could be making new IPs with that.
Yeah. Very true.
So why, I mean, this might come off as a bad thing, but like, why waste the old franchise when you could just make a new franchise? Why would you not want to do something new and different, or like take a fan thing and turn it into, like, let them work without the restriction of what was previously made before them?
Sure. Yeah. I can see it.
Yeah.
And that's our show. Hope everybody has enjoyed it. So stay cool. Amanda, there's an orphanage out there that needs some donuts in front of it. So let's go.